a video project, a lot of times you are going to have more than just one item in there. So we already practiced how to take one clip, one segment, and trim the end and trim the beginning off of that clip. What we're going to look at next is, okay, how do we add a photo into a video project that we already have, and how do we add other video clips to make a full-out movie or video project that we're working on? So let's take a look. So here I am inside of my iMovie, and I've already got in here basically my first clip, which was the intro that you had just viewed. So I've already trimmed off the beginning, I trimmed off the end. So now what I want to do is I wanted to add in a photo that I'm going to have next as kind of like a little transition part. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go to Photos. Now if you don't see that showing up, that whole media part, so I'm going to click on this to close it up. If you have instead this kind of view, you're going to basically go to that plus sign, and then that'll bring up your media window. And then it's broken down into the types of things we're going to add. So I'm going to add a photo, and the photo can be a photo that you actually take with the camera, or it's one that you saved off of a website. So I'm going to go in here to recently added. I have this one that I want to go and put in this wrap-up photo. So I put it in, and it's in here in my timeline. Now, as I go and I scroll this across, if you look up at it up there in the viewer, what I don't like is that I can't really read that it says wrap up. The whole thing's not on there. And as it plays, as it moves across, you can see that it looks like the words, the whole thing kind of moves. All right. This is something called the Ken Burns effect. Whenever you see a photo in a video that slowly pans across the screen, that's the Ken Burns effect. That's named after me. I use that a lot in my documentaries, including the Civil War documentary. All right, thanks, Ken. Thanks for that explanation of your effect. Well, bottom line is here, I want to get rid of that. I don't want this happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go tap on my image in the timeline. And right here it says Ken Burns enabled. I'm going to tap on that so that it is not enabled, that it is disabled. So now when I scroll across, my picture just stays motionless. However, you can see it's kind of messed up. It's not in the right spot. So I'm going to tap again. With Ken Burns disabled, I can then go with my fingers here and I can kind of pinch and drag around to get that where I want it. Okay, so now when it plays and I move across with the scroller, I can see how it looks. The other thing I want to adjust is that when I add in a photo, if I tap down here, I can see that my picture for wrap up, if I look up here into my viewer, 8 seconds. Wow, that's a long time for my photo. I really don't want it on there for that long. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the edge of the photo in the timeline, and I'm going to tap and drag to shorten up the time. And as I shorten up the time by moving across here, I can see up here how much time it's going to be up there for. I only want this to be like a little transition type thing, so I'm going to change this to like 2 seconds. If I was going to have some narration going on, I could expand this to be even longer. But I'm going to go for about 2 seconds right there, set, ready to go. So now when it plays, there's me talking, transition, goes to the photo. Now one of the things you'll also notice in the timeline is that when my photo was brought in, I now have this little symbol that's in between my video clip and my photo. So that right there, that is a transition. And what you can see is that as this moves across, and in fact, I'll just go right here and then I'll hit play.
So let's take a look.
I get that dissolve effect in there. So if I go ahead and actually tap on that symbol, not looking at my email, you can see that my transition is to dissolve, and it lasts for 1 second. If I want the dissolve to be a little bit quicker, like let's say that dissolve transition like cut off some of what I was saying back here, I can go and I can change it down to like 0.5 seconds. So it's a quicker dissolve, and it wouldn't cut off any of my audio. Right? Now, there are other transitions that you can use. Thank you, Bell System. There's other transitions you can use, but quite honestly, the ones that you really want to use are going to be the dissolve and the fade. These other ones like slide and wipe, if you use those, you're basically screaming to everybody, hey, look, I just learned how to fiddle with transitions in iMovie. You really don't want to be using those, okay? And again, those are going to get added in automatically when you add in more stuff, more media into your project. So one of the other things I want to do is that now I'm going to go and add, after this little image about wrap up, I want to add a little video segment that I recorded for my wrap up. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to tap where it says photos so I can go back to media, so I can go to my other choices. I'm going to go back to video here. I'm going to go to recently added, and what I want to do is to go ahead and select my wrap up that I was speaking about. So I'm going to go ahead right here to my wrap up, tap on my plus. I've got a wrap up where I'm talking, kind of summarizing as to how you add stuff in, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure it's real important, but you can see that I've got a little transition from 1 second. So if I actually hit play,
So when you build a video project,
looks good. Okay. So the other thing I want to do is just kind of cut off at the end. I'm going to tap my clip, split. I'm going to delete that part at the end. And then at the very end, what I want to do to kind of make it all look a little bit better, I'm going to go up here to my gear, my settings. I'm going to say fade in from black, fade out to black. So that way when my video plays, I get that fade in. At the end, the fade out. And it looks nice. And when you are creating a video project, it's important that you record it in small little chunks, in clips. We don't want to just hit the record button on the iPad and just let it go forever. And that's not good for you, it's not good for your students. We want it broken up into clips for a couple of different reasons. For one, in case you mess up. If you make a mistake, you just re-record that clip. Number two, another good reason, you don't have to get everything done at one time. So let's say you have students working on a project. Oh, so-and-so from our group is absent. We need them for that part. Good. Do the other parts, and then you can record that clip later. And then third, sometimes it's just easier to then get those different clips done at different locations, or maybe you have different insights that you want to bring in with a different clip to wrap things up. For example, this summary clip that I'm doing right now from the video that you had just watched, this was done 2 days after the tutorial. So I hope you found that useful. And again, not just hitting record and letting it go. We want those small little chunks, those clips put together to make an effective video.